he expects me to sleep like this.
Snoring is usually something that we view as either humorous, you might have been laughing watching that, or just really annoying if you're trying to sleep next to someone that's snoring. However, it can actually be a sign of an underlying issue. I'm joined today by two dentists and dental sleep specialists, Dr. Elliott and Dr. Heinrich. Thank you for joining me today.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you both own Sleep Better Northwest. You have two locations, one in Spokane and one in Post Falls, and you treat people who have sleep apnea with an oral appliance. But let's start first by talking about sleep apnea. What exactly is sleep apnea and what is happening when someone has it?
Well, many times people think that snoring, like you said, is a joke, but it can be showing that there's a narrowing of the airway. And once the airway is narrowed so much, the airway is actually blocked off. And you can see here, the tongue is actually very large, and it falls back into the back of the throat, and it stops the air from moving through.
So if we can get a close shot of this, then this, as you can see, this circle here, it's actually blocking that airway completely shut because that airway is just collapsing on itself.
Correct.
Okay, so what happens when you put the oral appliance in someone's mouth?
Well, by placing the oral appliance in, you're moving the mandible forward, and that's where all the muscles of the tongue and throat attach. So by pulling that mandible forward, you're expanding your airway, keeping it open, and because that airway is so open, there's no vibration, which is that noise of snoring.
So we see here the jaw pulled forward, and then you finally have an open airway, like most of us do who don't have sleep apnea. So why should someone get help for sleep apnea? Are there risks involved, Dr. Heinrich, if you don't?
Yeah, so what happens during the apneic events is the airway is closing, so which means you're not getting enough oxygen at night. And you're constantly being woken up, which means you're not getting that deep, refreshing sleep that's going to help the body heal itself throughout the night. So there's risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, high blood pressure. And so again, if the body's not allowed during that night, during the sleep, to get refreshing sleep because you're constantly being woken up by the snoring or that airway being cut off, then systemic inflammation can occur, which can harm all the organs in the body because of the lack of oxygen. And so harmful hormones are released, the good hormones are not released, and so we see high incidence of high blood pressure and cardiovascular risk. In fact, the American Academy of Sleep Medicine just back in June has come out with a statement saying that everyone with type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure should be tested for sleep apnea.
Wow, so the big point here is that if you have sleep apnea, you could actually be doing serious damage to your body over the course of time if you don't get treatment for it, because you need oxygen, just as much oxygen as when you're awake as you do when you're sleeping, and you're not going to get a restful night's sleep unless you are getting that oxygen. And
Absolutely.
I know you've said to me, you've had people who didn't realize that they were sleeping so awful at night.
Yeah, and so some folks that we end up treating, they'll claim that they're not tired during the day. They know that they snore, they'll stop breathing at night, but they don't claim that they're tired or fatigued. And then once they get treated, they actually, like you said, did not know that how great they could feel in the morning, how refreshed they could feel, how much more they can focus. They're more mentally sharp. They just generally feel better. They feel like exercising, and so it can change their lives.
Most snorers will deny it. They say, I sleep just fine.
Their partner may not say that.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
And what's interesting is how much we can help the spouse's insomnia problems too, by just making their bed partner quiet.
Well, Dr. Elliott, talk a little bit about the symptoms that someone should look for if they think they might have sleep apnea.
Well, snoring is obviously one of them, because that means there's a narrowing of the airway, vibration of the soft tissue creating that noise. That's usually what causes people to get the most help. The other is morning headaches because of that lack of oxygen. In addition, fatigue throughout the day, and just generalized cloudiness and memory problems. And it's not always snoring that's going to bring people in the door and seeking treatment.
A lot of times it is their partner who's like, go
Forcing
get
them.
help.
We get a lot of thank yous from the bed partners.
Yeah, I bet. Who's eligible for the oral appliance, and what is the process to get one?
Well, as far as the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, people can get an oral appliance as a first line. And what that means is that if you have mild to moderate sleep apnea, then we can treat you with this without having to try the CPAP mask. If you do have a more severe case and you cannot tolerate the CPAP, then we can treat you with an oral appliance as well. It just takes a little bit more follow-up and close monitoring. In addition, if you travel or hunt or fish like Rob does, Dr. Heinrich does, then it's also good to use your CPAP at home and you use the oral appliance when you travel.
So you can take it more just on the go.
There's
More
no
mobile.
electricity needed.
Yeah, that's great. Now, if someone's worried about the cost of this, I understand you do take insurance.
Yeah, so the great thing about this is that it is billed through medical insurance, and we find that most insurance companies do cover the appliance to some extent, depending on deductibles. Every insurance company is different, and so both our offices do provide help in trying to do some predeterminations and find out what the insurance will cover. Medicare also does cover the appliance as well, and so we do accept Medicare patients for those who are CPAP intolerant. So yeah, there's pretty good medical coverage. Every insurance company is different, and both our offices are happy to help the patients get that determination of what they will cover and what they won't cover.
Okay. Well, you've got 2 locations. Here we're looking at a picture of the CPAP. So again, like you said, if you don't like the CPAP, or maybe you just want something to use on the go, it's a great thing to try this. And can you just demonstrate really quick how that, I mean, that just...
Well, there's an upper plate and a lower plate, and they couple together to pull the mandible forward. And the beauty of the customized and adjustable appliance, unlike the ones you see on the internet, is that you can pull it forward a little bit at a time to get to that sweet spot, to that point where your airway stays open the whole time, the whole night.
So you're really fitting it specifically for that person, obviously. Much better than the ones that you would see online.
Right, and it has a 3-year warranty, fully backed up. It's a beautiful thing, and patients still cannot believe that it actually works.
Yeah. Well, you've got a great website. It's sleepapneanorthwest.com. I think we've got your website that we can pull up to show everybody, but you can go there for all questions, information. You got your 2 locations there, like I said, one in Post Falls and one in Spokane.
North Spokane.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, a lot of times people hear Post Falls, Idaho, and they think, oh, that's so far away. It's almost like there's an invisible wall at the border, but we're conveniently located right off the freeway, very easy to get to, right off the 90, and we service Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake,
Yeah,
South
you're really,
Hill,
I've been there.
North
You're
Spokane.
just Spokane Street, and you're just literally right off the freeway, so it's super easy to get to. And then the North Spokane office, what's your address there?
It's 10121 North Nevada, so it's right on the corner of Hawthorne and Nevada by North Point, behind Safeway.
Okay.
Right there on the corner, big brick building.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming down to talk to us about this.
Thank you.
And that is going to do it. We're going to leave you with some information here. If you want to get out a piece of paper, write down the phone numbers to call. We've got the Spokane and the Post Falls phone number there, as well as the website. Write those down, folks. If you or your spouse or your partner might have sleep apnea, maybe you should give these guys a call and see if they can help you. So thanks so much, folks, and we'll see you next time.